Hmm. I was going to ask, so you've sort of seen a different sports. You've seen the players of those sports evolve almost. Because, I mean, a football player from the 70s is obviously different from a football player and now in 2012.
Yeah, it was much more innocent back then. You didn't have stars by your name in high school, okay? And so recruiting wasn't that big a cottage industry as it is now. Now it's everywhere. Signing day's a national holiday pretty much now. And the college kids get there, they're much wiser. They've traveled, basketball especially, they've traveled across the country. They've traveled across foreign countries to play AAU ball and like that. So they're much more in tune of what the world looks like than they were back in the 70s.
Okay, now I know you dabble most of your time in football and basketball and golf.
Mm-hmm.
And now the Nashville Knights were here, but what was it like when Nashville got a, quote, non-traditional sport in the Nashville Predators?
Well, not only the Nashville Knights, there were the Nashville South Stars. There were the
Dixie Ice
Flyers before that. So they had minor league hockey, and it was a niche sport. And I'm not sure, I don't remember there being huge crowds at those games. And they played at the Municipal Auditorium. And so it wasn't anything like when the Predators came here. You knew that it was an expansion team. You knew it was NHL, top level of hockey you could have. And for years, they would draw, 10,000 on a mid-week game, and they would get maybe 14,000 on the weekends. And now they've built that up, had some success, made the playoffs. Barry Trotz and David Poyle have done a great job in bringing that sport to town, teaching people about it, drafting good players who are good people in the community, and so it's become very popular. And now that second and third generation of kids are coming up, and they know what hockey is. There are not enough sheets of ice around here to handle all the kids that want to play youth hockey. So I think they've weathered the worst of the storm here, and I think it's a pretty solid franchise right now. Now, if they got past the first round last year, now if they can improve on that steadily the next 3 or 4 years, I think they'll be a very solid franchise in the NHL.
As a season ticket holder, you don't know how happy what you just said makes me.
Well, I hope I'm right.
I hope you're right too. Did you ever cover the Knights games at all? This is just random.
I went to see them some.
Okay.
No, I didn't cover them because I'll be honest with you, I didn't know anything. Mm-hmm. I didn't know enough about it to even ask a question about it. I just was trying to soak in the game. And down to Municipal Auditorium, if you were covering the game or you want to see a game, you had to walk up a ladder that went all the way to the top of the building, a small ladder. It went all the way to the top of the building, and then a catwalk across the top of the thing. And when you got up there, they had 2 metal chairs, kind of like this, and about a 60-watt light bulb up there to see. And you were looking straight down on the action. Now, you see the action great from up there, but it about gave me a heart attack climbing up that high and staying up that high for as long as you had to stay up there, because you didn't want to go down between periods, because it took a long time to get up there and a long time to get down. So that was pretty interesting. They don't have to do that down there at the Nashville Arena, or Bridgestone Arena, I guess.
Yeah, we have all kinds of stuff that's changed names around here.
Yeah.
Just a few fun, quick hit questions that I have.
Uh-huh.
Okay, maybe the oddest sport or craziest sport that you have covered, just a different kind of offbeat type of thing.
What about Highlight? Is that offbeat enough?
What is it?
Highlight, J-A-I-L-A-I-E, I think. Highlight. Look it up.
I have no idea
what
it is.
It's a thing that started in Spain. It's 3-sided concrete walls and a net where everybody can sit out there and see you play it. And they call what they have a pelota, which is a ball that's about that round, hard as a rock. And they've got what do they call those things? A big scoop thing that they catch it in, and they throw it up there and they play, and you bet on it. So I covered that. They had a highlight fronton in Daytona. And so I would go out there and do stories on the players. Most of the time you needed an interpreter because there weren't many Americans playing it. But that was a very fascinating sport, tough man sport. you get hit with one of those plotters coming off there at more than 100 miles an hour, and your night's going to be ruined.
Sounds rough.
That was crazy. The craziest interview I ever did was Muhammad Ali. Okay, I was in Daytona Beach. He was promoting a fight and came to town to train a little bit, and they put a ring out in the football stadium, municipal football stadium out there in the middle, and people could come watch him work out. Well, I got a one-on-one with him after he worked out one day, and he took his gloves off, and he was in a trailer. So he asked me my name and stuff like that, and he said, "Come over here. You want to interview me? Come over here. Get close." And so I got close, and he started shadowboxing my face. And he was going, "You know I'm Putty. You know I'm the heavyweight champion of the world." And he's going like that, and his fists are coming about that close, and then he pulls them back. I think I'm going to get knocked out. And you think about trying to come up with questions to ask this guy who's a worldwide figure, and he's sitting there throwing punches at your face. My concentration wasn't very good during that moment, I can tell you that. But he did the whole interview like that, and that was probably the most unusual interview I did.
I don't think I could come up with anything if you were punching me in the face.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's doing it. But
Yeah.
when it's Ali, I mean, you could see how fast his hands were, and he was just playing. You know, he was just fooling around with me. He wasn't, serious or anything. But it was he was an unusual guy, and certainly made his mark in the world of boxing. Greatest ever, I think.
Now, getting local, this is, I don't want you to throw anybody under the bus, but best, let's see, think of the right way to do this. I know you've been a lot of places too, so you can include those. Best Media Row food ever had.
Media Row food, I think, would be the Tampa Bay Bucks, not the original ones, the ones now. They made their owner came to their sports media guy. He said, "I want the best press box food in the NFL. Don't care what it costs, you get it." They had carving stations there that they would carve roast beef, they would carve ham. Did it the whole game. They had at halftime they had Bananas Foster. I mean, you don't get that. You get a hot dog over here at LP Field, and a rotten one at that. So that's the best press box food I had. Now, at the Super Bowl, well, no, those were packed lunches. No, that wasn't it. But now we go to some good restaurants and eat.
Yeah. But, what about best press box view or best press seating? Something around that.
Well, I tell you, the best in the NFL is right here at LP Field. Now, don't tell Bud Adams that, because he'll chop it up and make skyboxes out of them. We'll be out of a place to watch a game, but you're down low to the field. You can see what's going on. Your Titans bench is right in front of you. You don't need binoculars. Some of Miami, they put you in the end zone. You can't even tell what yard line the ball's on. There's some bad press box seating in the NFL. Tell you what, though, Titans got the best, and they may have the best anywhere. The big college stadiums, you're so far away that you have to use binoculars to see what's going on down there.
What's it like covering a game at Memorial with the floor the way it is?
I don't like it. I don't like it, never have liked it. We used to have to cover from what I call the crow's nest. That was the top of the building, if you ever even seen it. Mm-hmm. And you had to climb up 5 million steps to even get up there. And you had to recognize players by their haircuts, because that's all you could see pretty much from the top up there. You were all the way to the top. I tried to get them to make and did get them, or help get them to put us downstairs, at least the ones that covered the game for dailies and things like that, the TV stations. And then Chancellor Gee came in, and the students were complaining that the press was taking up too much space down there where their section was. And so he cut it in half, put some of the press, gave away, I'll give him credit for this, he gave away his skybox, and they made it a auxiliary press box up there, but you really can't get the feel of the game from up there. That's for people to, sit there and wine and dine, and most of them don't even see the game from up there. But I like it. When you're down on the court down there, you can really tell what's going on in the game.
How about most interesting Titan that you covered?
Well, I'd have to say Pac-Man because he got a share, lion's share of the attention that we did. He was when he went to Dallas, I called Randy Galloway, who's a columnist down there with the Dallas Morning News, now with the Fort Worth Star, and I said, Galloway, you're the luckiest man in the world. He said, what do you mean? What do you mean? I said, you just got 25 automatic columns dropped in your lap with Pac-Man. He says, I think he'll be all right here. I think he'll be all right here. I said, Galloway, he's not going to be all right anywhere, but you just enjoy what he does because he will provide you with all the column material you need. He was the most interesting because he was so bizarre, and the things he did were so bizarre, and he really, wasted all his money, threw all his money away. It's a sad situation, and but he just didn't get the big picture here.
What about? I know that he did a lot of strange things, but what about humorous, funny athlete that maybe had his fun with the press, but not really at their expense? But any athlete in town doesn't have to be a Titan.
Yeah. Well, the Sounds were great practical jokers. They would come in there, and if you didn't know who they were, I remember one year an unsuspecting freelance radio guy went in. The guy had thrown a perfect game, and so he goes in to interview him, and he doesn't know him from me, and he goes in there, and they know that this guy's new, and he says, "Are you, let's just say, Brian Akers?" And they said, "No, he's in the shower. He'll be out later." No, they'd say, "Yeah, he's over there." So he'd go over there and interview them, start interviewing and everything. Says, and the guys would play along with it. Well, my fastball was working great. My curveball, I could get it over the plate. Was keeping them off balance and stuff like that. And then the other place said, "That's not him. He's over there." And he'd go to the next one and go over there. Well, finally, the real Brian Akers comes out of the shower. He'd been in the shower. He comes out, and they said, "There he is, there he is." And so he goes over there, and it wasn't him. And so then that guy jumps on him. Well, Brian Akers had gotten into the training room, gotten out of the shower, gone to the training room. And so this guy's going by, and he looks over and he sees his arm all wrapped up in ice. So, the light goes on. Here's the guy I'm looking for. He takes one step in that trainer's room, and the guy jumps up off the bench and says, "You can't come in here. This is no media allowed in here." And so scared the pure guy to get. And I don't think he ever got a story off of the perfect game. That was kind of funny.